Hello, boys. Welcome back to a movie review. Roll the intro. Okay, today we're going to be talking about one of the best movies and Christopher Nolan movie, especially that I have seen. Okay, best Christopher Nolan movie of all time, in my opinion, and best movie probably of the year, to be fair. It's up there. Yeah, we're talking about Oppenheimer, right? I know I'm a little late with it because when it originally came out, it was on my last week of exams and I couldn't do it. And then I watched it last night and I'm already doing a review of it today. So just be thankful that you're even getting a review of it, okay? But yeah, man, that movie was absolutely insane. Like the whole visuals of it all, they're realistic, the acting, the scene changes, the color changes from scene to scene. It was just amazing. Honestly, just amazing, honestly. So obviously let's talk about the flipping cast, okay? You have Cillian Murphy, first of all, playing J. Robert Oppenheimer, Florence Pugh, Jean Tadlock, Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss, freaking out, Emily Blunt as Kitty Oppenheimer, Rami Malek, David Lee Hill, Jack White, Richard Feynman, and then Matt Damon, Leslie Groves, right? Those are eight guys. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's absolutely crazy. It's like the whole Oppenheimer movie was basically a masterpiece of storytelling. They basically, if you guys don't know, the movie is about a biopic, or like, I don't think it's a documentary, but it's basically the biopic and the life story of J. Robert Oppenheimer, who was this American theoretical physicist who was basically the father of the atomic bomb, and basically, the World War II, the fat man and little boy that was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Basically, that was all J. Robert Oppenheimer, and it was basically a biopic of him, Los Alamos, how he basically built this whole town to create these two weapons of mass destruction, and basically the aftermath of how it all happened. And it was just amazing storytelling from Christopher Nolan because he really knew how to stress and how to extract the message he was trying to send with different scenes. Like, for example, there was the part of the aftermath where there was basically a group of people that was holding a hearing of, not really a hearing, but like, a mini hearing regarding J. Robert Oppenheimer and all his friends and his loved ones, basically about renewing his security clearance. On the aftermath, that was shot in color, right, to show the true tale and true meaning of the whole thing. And then there was a whole other hearing that was shot purely in black and white about the main Congress and the cabinet that was trying to discuss about the mistakes of J. Robert Oppenheimer and the AEC and the whole council. And that was all shot black and white to show and to stress the values and the lies or the foul play that was going on between the whole politicians and on all the powerful people. And I have not seen a movie that did this level of storytelling that good in a long time, and I've not seen it, especially from Christopher Nolan too. I think he really outdid himself with this one. When he created And because this was his first project without Warner Brothers, because he always does movie with Warner, but this is the first one with Universal. And a lot of people had a lot of doubt on whether Christopher Nolan could somehow make it work, but god damn it, he did. He did. And we saw the relationship of J. Robert Oppenheimer with um freaking Einstein, and this whole movie, because obviously quantum physics and quantum mechanics, it's not easily understood by many. It's because it's not a very easy concept to understand, right? But the way they explained it, it was in a very detailed way, yet in a way it was in a way that could be understood by the audience, but in a way that did not oversimplify it, that it took away from the meaning or the message they were trying to send, which was freaking amazing. And I did not expect to see that. And then the visuals of the movie was just another thing to behold, right? The explosions, the visuals of the skies, the clouds, the ringing sound of everything. It was just amazing. Like, they first did the test of not the Trinity testing, but another testing that was done of the atomic bombs before it was being sent out. And those testings that were done where the whole explosion just lit up in the air. The whole thing just lit up in the air. You could see the whole, like, the light coming in, and a lot of people were confused about it, why there was no sound, but then they highlighted the sound part of the light part of it, and then how the sound came after the whole blasting sound. And I wanted to fully experience it in IMAX, but all the IMAX scenes were basically sold out, so I had to watch it in normal standard 2D. But you can imagine if you're sitting in IMAX and how you were able to experience that whole explosion scene, and how they I don't even know how they recreated that whole explosion scene, because it was honestly, that whole testing explosion scene was absolutely insane. Like, the visuals, like, I don't think you would have been able to capture that feeling if it was with CGI, and I think it was a good decision to do it without CGI. And the characters was well played by all the actors, played very well. Emily Blunt played very well as Oppenheimer's wife, and Cillian Murphy did an amazing job as Robert Oppenheimer, and Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss, as his antagonist that hated Oppenheimer just because Oppenheimer humiliated him once. The characters and the meanings they were sending were very good. The soundtrack also were pretty freaking amazing. I am so sorry, but I do not know who did the soundtrack of it. But yeah. Oh, Ludwig Göransson. I think this guy was the one who did like the soundtrack for Black Panther and all. But yeah, it was, and to see that he only did it with $100 million USD. You know, when you think about the Hollywood movies nowadays and the graphics and the amount of money they spend on CGI and everything, and he did it with $100 million, and he had to recreate all the explosion because, I mean, come on, recreating the whole test explosion scene and you doing it in CGI would be way cheaper, and the way that he measured it all within $100 billion is pretty amazing. And obviously this whole Barbenheimer thing, because Barbie was released at the same time with Oppenheimer, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think Oppenheimer is gonna make as much money as Barbie, because Barbie is a very heavily marketed movie, easily marketable to many people, and there's also a wider appeal of uh Barbie that Oppenheimer is a biopic of this guy who created atomic bombs 3 hours, and not many people are gonna enjoy this movie. It's a very good movie, but not many people are gonna enjoy it as much as Barbie. It's not gonna make as much money, but it's gonna be a huge hit in the box office regardless, right? But yeah, I really loved the movie. I would give this a solid. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. It's a 10 out of 10 movie. It's my first full 10 out of 10 if I'm not mistaken that I've reviewed. But yeah, it's really really good movie. It Some parts I found quite hard to understand about the politics of it all, but I went back and read up about it, and it started to make quite a lot of sense. But it was yeah, it was some parts can be quite daunting and quite confusing, but when you start to understand more and more throughout the movie, it gets better explanation of it all. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, really thoroughly enjoyed it. It was an amazing movie by Christopher Nolan.